Look, I know, I get it, Jesus. I get it, you don't like me looking at other girls. I understand. I wouldn't want you looking at other riders either. But, you know, I gotta touch the Panhead. I mean, I'll stop looking at her, but I gotta touch her. This is professional between me and the Panhead. Will you knock it off? You're driving me crazy. Welcome back, YouTube. Slick here in the Slickhead Garages. And don't worry, I made up with the flathead. I worked things out with her. Alright guys, this video is going to be a little bit shorter because this is the week of Thanksgiving. And it was really busy, had some things to do and days off. So it's going to be a little bit shorter. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. And let's dig into this and get the carburetor off the Panhead. Okay, let's start by getting all the fuel out of the fuel line and the strainer, then remove the carburetor. I got it set up where I'm going to catch the little bit of fuel that's in there in that bucket underneath. I got the new points and condenser on the timer base, but let's get this fuel out of there so we can get this carb out of here. Ooh, nasty. This thing is nasty. Boy, oh boy, where do you see this? Oh, come on. Man, all kinds of black stuff came out of there. Oh. Alright, I had all kinds of black stuff come out of there. Let's get this strainer to drop down. Ooh, nasty. Nasty, nasty. All kinds of black stuff in there. Look at all that. All that fell out of the strainer. I'm sure if I hold this up to the light, it'll be all jammed up. Sure don't look good. I gotta get a flashlight on it. But alright, now I can safely remove the carburetor. And then I want to address the timer base. I might as well do it now. So I was cleaning around the timer base, scrubbed all that up, and I noticed underneath the circuit breaker timer base, it was all painted. So I removed all the paint from here because that's where your spring clip goes. And from experience, I know that that spring clip provides a ground. For example, it just says a spring tension clip in the Panhead manual. But in my manual for the flathead, because I had a problem with the flathead, one side was unclipped. It was giving me all kinds of trouble because it wasn't getting a good ground. With my timer base spring clip, it physically says ground right there. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this one was all painted black. There was like two or three spots that were open with metal, and maybe that's how it was running before, but you know, it shouldn't be painted. So I scraped it all off and cleaned it all off of there so it gets a good ground connection with that spring clip. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've had experience with the flathead and it wasn't working right unless it was grounded properly. I looked at my flathead and my timer base, it's completely raw metal underneath there. So I just wanted to point that out. Now I'll grease this up, grease the cam lobe, I'll get this on there, and I'll come back to you guys. I'll have the carburetor off. Okay. Got the carburetor out, got the linkered out. Got her hanging out in this box right here. I found something very interesting with the linkered carburetor. Some hokey craziness going on. But anyway, here's the linkered off the Panhead. This is the spacer. It's got two gaskets and a spacer. I forget what they call the spacer. Oh well. It's got two gaskets and a spacer. And as you can see, all of the hardware is the same size, same bolt, except for this guy. This guy is longer and different because you can tell that they lost a bolt in the past. Somebody did. Okay, that happens. You drop bolts, you lose them, whatnot. Well, as I'm taking the carburetor out of the its little home, look what I find. There's the bolt that someone had dropped in the past, and they didn't realize where it went, and it got jammed down in there in between the fins and the intake. So either they couldn't get it out themselves, or they just didn't know where it went, and then they put that longer bolt in. But that's crazy, so I'll take that out of there. Anyway, yeah, I cleaned up the screen a little bit. Man, she was gagged up. She was all gagged up. But now, she's looking pretty good. Oh, there's that damn phone again. It's probably old hippie. Dirty. So, I'm going to take the carburetor over to the fab shop, lay it down on the table so I can take it all apart and find out what crazy wonders lie beneath all this. We will see. Hang on. Oh, one last thing before I take the carb over to the fab shop for disassembly. I forgot to show you this. The carb support bracket underneath the carburetor. I found it all loosey-goosey. Down there is a nut. It's a through bolt through the cases that hold the cases together. It's one of many, but the nut I can see is completely loose down there. I'm sure you might be able to see it. Now I know it's hard to get to once the carb's in there. You got the oil lines all on your way. But come on, guy. We could do a little better than this. So I'll get that tightened up better than that. That's lame. All right, let's go over to the fab shop, disassemble this carb. All right, folks, back to this damn dirt bike. This thing is really getting on my nerves. I put the carb all back together, put the new needle valve in the float. That solved that problem. I'm not trickling out any more fuel. But last night I went to start it, and I was kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and couldn't get the damn thing running. I just don't get it. I had it running just 2 weeks ago, running perfectly, riding it around, everything. So I'm going to give it another shot tonight. Oh, I put the new plug in it. I'm going to give it another shot tonight. Maybe it'll start for me. My buddy Ski, who's the quote-unquote two-stroke master, he was saying that they don't like to start in cold weather. I've had two strokes in my younger years and used to have them out in the snow and they would kick up just fine. So I'm not buying that. But anyway, if I can't get it started tonight, I'm going to use the old phone a friend option and call Ski over here and let him have a shot at it. Maybe I'll have a bet with him that if he gets it started, we'll come up with some kind of bet. And then if he can't, then I'll be in his face making fun of him. But maybe we'll make a bet. See if the two-stroke master can get it running. I really need to get it back to the kid. Sick of it. Well, I got it started. So screw you, Ski. I'm the dirt bike master. Yeah, what had happened was I had the throttle cable too tight and it was holding up on the slide in the carburetor. So then when I was putting the enricher on to kickstart it, it wasn't working right. That's enough of this. So that's cool. Now I'll be able to bring the bike back to the kid on Thanksgiving dinner. He'll be excited. I don't know if you heard me or not, but I found the problem. I had the throttle cable adjustment a little too tight, and then in turn that was probably lifting the slide up a little too much. And then when you put the enricher on, and if you open the slide on a slide carburetor with the enricher on, it screws things up. It bypasses the enrichment at that point. So once I loosened that up, it kicked right up. So she's good to go. Screw you, Ski. I'm the dirt bike master. All right, guys, if I'm filming this right, and it's in order, then you know this bike is fixed. I got it so good now, it's kick-starting within half a kick. It's starting up so easy now. So it's going back to the kid tomorrow during Thanksgiving dinner. I'm a little scared he's going to hurt himself, and it's going to be all my fault. But at least I got good brakes on here now. I took it for a test ride up and down the road, flying. And now I can lock up the back wheel and stop real fast. So at least he has a fighting chance. He can stop when he's about to kill himself.
Tower on a big dirt bike. Ah, big dirt bike, big dirt bike. That's some sissy riding
But that's that. This thing's out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, and then maybe this is what's this? Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Friday, my buddy Ski's coming over. He's going to help me get the sporty engine back in my brother's chopper so I can bolt that back up. That way I can do all my alignment. I can make wheel spacers. I can do all my welding, all my fender mounts, chain alignment, all that kind of stuff. Struts, because you need that engine in there to have the chain on it, to have it aligned before you can move forward with any kind of fabricating. So that's what's going to happen. So I hope that happens, because I'm starting to get real itchy. I want to start building on this thing. Watching Hippie's videos, seeing him build all those shovelhead choppers, I want to get back to building the chopper. So I'm getting real antsy. All right, let me take you over to the other garage before we dig back into the Panhead and clean up the linker. Last night when I was out here, The old flatty, she's getting real jealous. She's been seeing the Panhead's battery's been getting charged every night. So now she's getting all mad and jealous. So I figured last night, you know what? Let me take, since the Panhead's already charged up, let me take it off the Panhead and throw it on the flatty and give her a little, you know, a little old Ben Franklin, Thomas Edison juice, a little Tesla juice. Get her charged up a little bit. When I plugged it in, it wouldn't register on the charger. I'm like, what the hell? It's telling me there's no voltage detected. I'm like, I know this battery's good. I just ran it. I always test it before I ride it and after I'm done riding it. So I know it's sitting at 6.3 volts. It can't be bad. Was it just too cold, I'm thinking? So I said, you know what? Let me check the, I have one of those, you know, battery tender pigtails on it. So you can just plug right in like everybody has. Well, I said, let me check the fuse in that. Well, I checked the fuse. All right. And this thing, I couldn't get it out. All corroded. It's all nasty and corroded. Son of a bitch, now I gotta get a new one. At first I'm like, did acid like leak out of the battery and get in here? Like, I can't imagine this little 6-volt battery did all this to this guy. So I gotta get a new one. Son of a bitch. But I felt better knowing it was just that and that my battery is fine. Thank God. I think I just bought that this summer. All right, that's that. Let's get to tearing apart the linkert and cleaning it up. Okay, everybody, let's dig into the Panhead's linkert. This is a M74, I believe. Yeah, it's an M74B carb. Not sure what the B stands for. If somebody out there knows, let me know. I already took the bowl off, and this here's the kit, the linkert rebuild kit from Linkert. I think they're made in China, Taiwan now. They're not in the USA anymore. But it had the same type of float already in here, so that's good. But anyway, I did put my mouth on here, and I'm not going to do it on camera because I'm not going to have you guys make fun of me. But I was blowing in there and lifting the float and making it seat, and it really wasn't seating right. I could still hear leakage. So that would explain why, if his fuel shutoff is leaking at the tank and then this is leaking, it was just overflowing everywhere. So going to put a new float on, clean everything up. And so you get this in the kit. You get the seat, the needle valve seat. So I'll install that in here. New float. So I'm not going to go through this extensively because I've already done a video like this, and like I said before, I'm not an expert. I only have a little bit of experience because my flathead has an M51 linkert. But you want to get really good detailed information, go to Tatro Machine, Pacific Mike, the Restore, the guy over in England. They all do great videos on the linkert. So we're just going to do a little bit to walk you through a little bit of it, and that's it. Once I get it all apart, I'll put it in the parts washer, carb cleaner, get it all cleaned up, put it back together, and then we'll get it back in the bike. They also give you bushings here, throttle shaft bushings. Let me remove this spring. And in here will be your nozzle, your main nozzle. I'm going to clean that all up real good. What was I going to say? Oh, so your throttle. This is your throttle shaft. If you have excessive end play, which I don't feel any here. If you have excessive end play, I'm not feeling anything. Any side to side end play, you would have to take that apart, put these in, just new bushings. Those bushings are pretty critical because you can have an intake leak through those bushings. You'd be sucking in air where you don't want air to be bypassing. All right, so let's take off the high-speed needle, the low-speed needle, get all the springs out of there. This kit comes with all those springs. It comes with the crush washer for the bottom of the bowl, all that sorts of things. You then have a, I believe that's the main jet needle, which is controlled by this, where you set the high-speed needle. That can come out, get cleaned. These can come out, get cleaned. I clean it all up real good, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. It's pretty self-explanatory when you get a manual. These carburetors are very easy. All right, let's take them apart. Let's do the high speed. When you take the needles out, you look for any defects in them, bends, corrosion, see if the end of it's all messed up or not, worn out. Looks pretty damn good. Let's take the low speed out. I hope I'm showing this right. Let me move my hands around. This one has the spring in it, because this one this valve, this lever actuates, and it won't bend the rod because it articulates. Man, this thing is dirty. Filthy. It's real filthy because you'd want to run it a little bit on the rich side as opposed to running it lean. All right, so let's get, see that lever articulates. The spring could go flying on you. I'm going to get a little flathead and get that out of there so it don't go flying. Going to remove all the body plugs and the main jet. Get it all cleaned up, soak it, the whole deal. Then put it all back together. The kit also gives you a gasket. That would be for the panhead there. This would be for my 3-bolt linker because I have an older one. This would probably be off of a 45-inch flathead, and maybe even the 61-inch knucklehead. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. You got a gasket that would go here. Nope. Got a gasket that would go here. You got the fuel strainer corks. His were installed improperly. They had them stacked together and then on the strainer when you're supposed to sandwich the strainer with these corks. So that was a little off. But anyway, you see what's going on here. Pretty self-explanatory. Let me get to it. That way I can get it back on the bike. All right, I'm going to knock some of the initial doo-doo off of the carb. Then I'm going to take it all apart and remove the plugs and everything. Now, just letting the parts soak for an hour made a major difference. Letting it soak in the parts cleaner solution. Now I'm going to pull the plugs out and scrub it all up, clean all the passages out with little fine carburetor brushes and whatnot. Get it all cleaned up, put it back together, and then back on the bike. And you don't need a parts washer per se to do this. You can use the Chem Dip carburetor parts cleaner stuff. It has its own little basket inside there that you can dunk parts down into, little small ones, and you let it sit for a half hour or so. You can always use these. These are great. All right, let's put this back in the bike. All right, as I said, I'm going to end this video short. I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to put the carburetor all back together, and I'm going to put it back on the bike along with the timer base. You don't need to see all that. That's just in reverse order of what I did earlier. Hopefully, next time you see this video, that'll be all back together on the Panhead, and we'll be trying to kickstart it. So stay tuned.